We're trying to bring you a bit of perspective on the challenges of protecting the environment from oil spills. And joining me now is the Director of AVAS, Mr. Alex Wilkes. Well, Mr. Wilkes, your organization promotes activism for issues such as climate change and some of the issues that we're trying to address here in Nigeria. And our lawmakers have been trying to address this issue. Where do you think we should start from in terms of the key areas we should focus on?
Well, that's right. Avaz means voice in several languages. And I'm pleased to say that 600,000 citizens from across Africa and across the world are joining hands with you in Nigeria and encouraging you to pass groundbreaking legislation which would end the era of oil impunity and ensure that the oil giants can be tamed. This is by clear accountability mechanisms, a clear liability in the case of spills, and clear response plans which put the communities first rather than the rights of international companies.
Well, you've done a lot of work in different sorts of environments. When you talk about trying to put such plans in place, looking at our experience, how do you see us implementing some of that? Because we've always had issues with implementing the best laid plans.
Well, that's right. Those issues are there in many countries. We've been campaigning also on the need to tame the banking giants here in Europe, who often wriggle out of their obligations also. So in Nigeria, as in the UK and elsewhere, it's a question not just of passing the law, and we are very optimistic that the Nigerian parliamentarians, following their hearing today, will pass the oil spill detection and response amendment law. But it's a question of enforcement as well. So when there are oil spills, such as the Bonga spill in your country, and a fine is laid down against the company responsible, the company should be forced to pay up rather than wriggle off the hook, as Shell appears to be trying to do. And it's that example which shows that there is the need for improved legislation in Nigeria, because otherwise the companies can too often get off scot-free. They can use their lobbying muscle in Abuja, in Amsterdam, in London and elsewhere to push and pull governments around, whereas the communities don't have those aces up their sleeve, and too often therefore there's receiving end of pollution, receiving end of noise and difficulty and environmental devastation, and the companies waltz away with the money. And this is a pressing problem in many countries. But I'm pleased to say that since, for example, the big BP oil spill, which covered the world's screens about 2 years ago, legislators are rushing to catch up in the EU, in Washington, and in Abuja, and to set a new framework.
Well, let me just ask you this. When you talk about the oil giants wriggling off the hook, a lot of them push some of their corporate social responsibility plans, like the big building of a school here and building of a road there. What should be the initial thing by law a particular company should do before and after exploration? What should we be looking at putting in place, to be proactive rather than acting when the spill has already happened?
Well, that's right. End-of-pipe solutions such as building a school or a health center, those may be small gains for the community and the community may want those. But what the communities tend to want fundamentally is to be informed about the oil plans, to know what the risks are, to know what the company is going to do to mitigate those risks. If, for example, there is a major spill, where will the company be? What should the community do? If they lose livelihood through fisheries, their crops being polluted, their water being polluted, will they be paid and compensated without a massive battle and having to march on the capital? What is it that the companies will do for the communities? Also, profit sharing, where will the money go? Will it be transparent? Will the community be cut in to benefit directly, and not just with a drip feed of small projects of the kind that you've mentioned? So those are the main types of things which communities should expect and can expect, which is the opposite of what we've seen in Nigeria and many other countries where the oil companies have it too much their own way.